Hello, this is Adam with DreamMade Productions. This video is made possible by the very kind donations of viewers like you. Thank you. If you are in a position to help this channel improve quality and grow, please visit my Patreon page at www.patreon.com/DreamMadeProductions, linked below.
It is the 31st century, and mankind is once again at war. The battlefields of the future are dominated by huge robotic war machines known as battlemechs.
Hey, Uncle Jesse, tell us a scary story.
I don't really...
Come on, Uncle Jesse, you've been all over this galaxy. You said from Terra to Clanner stars. You have to have seen something out there. Tell a ghost story.
Ghosts? Well, I don't like to talk about it.
Oh, come on, it must be good then.
Alright, but pass me that bottle, I'm going to need it. That's good and strong. Alright, I'll tell you what happened, but it ain't my fault if you can't sleep tonight. And you gotta keep this strong stuff coming. Back in 3050, I was on with the Flying Jacks, a company-sized merc group that could barely make payroll, let alone win any real fights. The Lyrans deployed us to some dirt ball I can't even remember the name of. It was the smallest thing I've ever seen with a breathable atmosphere. And when I say breathable, I mean you could breathe it and survive long enough to think you were fine. Its O2 count was just below what people need. A few hours and you would get loopy, then sleepy, then, well, you know the rest. I was out on patrol when some dropship dropped off a load of mechs. One looked like a thunderbolt. The others I had never seen before. We jumped them good from some ruins on a hilltop, behind cover, shooting down at them. Them in the bright hot sun, having to run up that gravel hill. Plus, Big Jim was with us. His Atlas was old and not in the best shape. It was still an Atlas though, and I'd seen him core a Track Panther in one go. We outnumbered them almost 2-to-1 with an ambush position. You couldn't design better. It didn't matter. They took all we had and just kept coming, shooting back more than both our lances could dish out while running up a rubble-covered hill at speed. I've been around awesomes. I've seen what one can do opening up with all 3 particle cannons. I've never seen what that big one did. I've never seen a mech mount 4 particle cannons, let alone shoot them all plus some missiles and drop an Atlas in one shot. All the blasts caught him dead center, and that was it. That big old mech just cracked apart, and they just kept coming. They were out of some nightmare. Monsters called up from hell itself. Aliens, something.
Uncle Jesse, everyone knows the Clanners aren't aliens or monsters. You said...
Quiet down, I'm just getting started. We ran. 3 merc groups on that dirt ball, combined almost 2 full companies, and 10 mechs kicked us off. We ran with our tail between our legs, and we were the lucky ones. Others just got left behind. As we were loading up as fast as we could, a Jenner came running into camp. The thing was junk, blacked, being held together by half-melted slag. It fell just inside the base, and we pulled the mech warrior out. Didn't know him, but then again, we didn't know everyone in the other merc companies. He was bleeding bad and burned pretty good. No one deserved to be left like that, so we laid him on some of our gear and kept loading until the captain started closing the doors. He was in bad shape for a while, pale as a sheet, losing all that blood and now covered in bandages. We managed to get to the jump point, but the flying jacks were done. 2 mechs left out of a company, and neither one of those running green. When the guy woke up, he was an odd one. Spoke well enough, but had this weird accent I've never been able to really place. The other 2 mech warriors kept on about their machines, and we two were kind of forced together since we were now both displaced. As odd as he was a pleasant enough fella. Talked a lot about some girl he liked and about seeing bands when he was young. I kinda liked him. Said his name was Pravrik and was from the Black Wings, and if I wanted, he'd put in a good word for me with his CO if we could get to Galatea. It was not odd back then. Outreach was becoming the merc capital, but at the time there were still a load of merc units still based out of the mercenary star. We begged, borrowed, and stole all we could to get there, but we made it. We stayed in the dive, but it was fine. Several days later, he came back with the paperwork. A job offer from the Black Wings Mercenary Company. The pay was not great, but hey, it was enough. I'd never heard of them before, so I put in a request with the MRB. I got a big report back, too much to read, so I filed through. It looked legit. I signed on, and it was not long before we were off. They were a quiet bunch, kinda creepy in a way, spending months trapped in a leopard, attached to a jump ship. Gotta find some fun. These guys just kinda stayed to themselves, most listening to music. That made the trip slow. Food didn't help either. It tasted, well, like nothing. Shipboard grub was never the most tasty lot, but this stuff was just dull. Still, they were friendly enough, paid on time, so I put up with it. We were on our way to some planet or another, out in the periphery. I was glad to be away from those devil clanners. The CO, Ivan, wanted to look for some long-lost SLDF cache he had heard about. You would think people would have learned by now, but, well, they never really seemed to. He formed up a lance plus me. We landed on this dust ball somewhere between the Magistry and the Taurians. Another 2 months wandering around looking for some long-lost treasure hoard. I was so sick of those meal packs. I ended up taking my chances eating some lizard thing I killed and cooked it on a fire. With no mech of my own, I sat, twiddled my thumbs most days. Then, one morning, I got word they found something. Sure enough, they took me to some underground storage vault. It had the Cameron crest on the walls and mech storage bays stretching out in all directions as far as the eye could see. All underground, mind you. The best part, it was empty. Thousands and thousands of empty slots. Not so much as a machine gun bullet left on the floor. Whoever had been there had stripped her bare of everything that wasn't bolted down. Some of the stuff that was. We walked those aisles for hours. Then, suddenly, there it was. In a back corner covered up with centuries of dust was a Mackie. I had never seen one in person before. The first BattleTech, and it looked the part. Still, once we sprayed it down and got all that crud off it, looked like it walked off the line the week before. I tinkered a little with her and she fired up. Star League Defense Force flashed up when the readout started and all. No wonder weapons, all stuff I was familiar with. I would have been disappointed coming all that way for just one mech, but it was better than nothing. The CO said I could pilot her, at least till we got back to Galatea. The trip back was...
Well, what happened?
It was like a dream. Hours spent listening to their music, feeling lightheaded. I thought I might have caught some bug on that planet. Maybe so did the others, because I saw less and less of them. They seemed sick too, or something. Rarely coming out of their rooms. Honestly, it felt like I slept most of the way. When the dropship finally touched down, I had a message from Prizik telling me that the CEO wanted me to unload the Mackie and take a few days off. I went down and got the mech and walked her off the Leopard. The ground crew came up flagging me down, so I got out. I felt better. Something about being back in the sun helped. No one else was disembarking. I asked the ground crew to look in on them. The dock master seemed puzzled. He said I was alone. I thought the man dumb. Alone? I left with 4 other mech warriors and 2 Aztecs, and the dropship crew. Alone. Must be a prank or something. They were insistent that the dropship was leased to me alone, that I showed up alone, boarded alone. They remembered because they couldn't believe one person managed the whole ship on their own. Again, I thought it must be a trick, a bad joke. I can't pilot a kite. let alone a leopard. And by myself? Okay, the joke was over. I went back on board and
We'll keep going.
not a soul to be found. The only unmade bed was mine. I was going space loopy, or maybe that lizard I ate had poisoned my brain or something. When I got back to the dive I was staying at, I looked back at the MRB report. It was a history request, not a background sheet. The Blackwings were a former Merc company built out of an SLDF unit like the Light Horses or any of countless others back then. They were hired back at the start of the Secession Wars. Made it almost through the first one until someone dropped a nuke. For some reason, they remained in the MRB data list, and their account was still there. Somehow, the dropship lease, transit fees, and such, including my pay, had come from their account, authorized by codes last used 200 years ago. Thank you. I piloted that Mackie for almost 10 years. Still have the printed manual I found in her cockpit. She ran fine, but I never felt alone when piloting her, working on her. One time, some boys and I were replacing her old PPC with a new one, complete with ER kit. We were almost done when the music box they had on started playing a song. That same music I heard those Blackwing mech warriors listening to on their dropship. It was over 100 in that work bay, and we all felt a chill hit us like snow on your bare back. During Bulldog, she kept soaking up damage and just kept running. More than once I came back with holes punched clean through, yet somehow missed anything vital. Some of those clanners have a cruel streak, a click deep and 2 clicks wide, and the Jaguars were the worst of them all. Every time we reset the Mackie's IFF transponder, it never held. It always glitched out and reset itself to SLDF militia. That really seemed to make the clanners angry. She got shot up on Port Arthur, and I finally moved up to an Omni-Mech. She had one last chill for me. I was told the techs finished stripping her for salvage on 15 March, 2 days after Serpent landed on Huntress. I guess she felt her job was done. Why me? I can't say. I like to think them spirits and that mech saw what the descendants of their fellows was doing and decided to get them sons of bitches.
Oh, come on, old man. You can't expect us to believe all that.
Honestly, I don't care if you believe my ghost story or not. All I can say is that I do. 'Cause I lived one. Hello, this is Adam with Dream Made Productions. Thank you for watching my content. It really means a lot that you have given me the chance to entertain you. If you would like to support the channel, please visit my Patreon at patreon.com/DreamMadeProductions, linked below. Also below is a link for PayPal, or links if you would like to send crypto, if that's more your thing. Please know any amount that you give will be cherished and used to upgrade equipment and improve the channel. You can also help the channel by subscribing, turning on notifications, liking, commenting, and sharing my channel with anyone you think might be interested. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you enjoy the battle reps that are to come.